Okay. Hey, Richard, go to the chat window and start saying good morning to everybody.
Okay, yeah.
The Microsoft ecosystem is constantly evolving, and for many partners, it's overwhelming to keep up. Constant program updates, intricate incentive structures, and ever-changing priorities leave partners struggling to stay ahead. Without a clear roadmap, critical opportunities are missed. These challenges don't just cost time, they cost revenue. Working with Microsoft doesn't have to be this difficult. With the right support, you can cut through the complexity, take control of your strategy, and unlock measurable growth. We help partners simplify their path to success by providing the guidance and resources needed to fully maximize their Microsoft relationship. Ready to learn more?
All right. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Voice of the Microsoft Partner. I'm your host, Sherman Crancer. This is, gosh, we've been doing this for five years, which has been really amazing. I wanted to just say thank you, everybody, for coming. If you guys know me or you don't know me, my background, I spent 5 years at Microsoft, in the partner development channel and with the Worldwide Partner Group, and then started my own company back in 2020, which is the Crancer Group. But anyways, thank you so much for joining us today on the Voice of the Microsoft Partner. We've got a great speaker today. We're so happy to have Christine Brown here, and we'll have her introduce herself in just a second. But we're gonna have a great show today. So a couple of rules of engagement. We really want you to take part in this actual event. It's kind of so if you have questions, please either go to the Q&A section or the chat section. Go ahead and put in your questions. You might have some questions that we can be asking Christine. Also, if you're interested, please go ahead and put in your name, your contact information. Network through this. We always want to allow people to network within this this event, and we like to do it. We have a lot of this year in 2026 we have a lot of really good speakers lined up, especially coming from Microsoft. So I got a chance to speak with Christine on several occasions this month, prepping for this, and I really believe this is going to be something really cool. You're going to be able to take away a lot of really good resources from this. So let me go ahead and I'm going to bring Christine on here. This is the agenda here, so you know who I am. Christine, would you mind just introducing yourself to the group here and tell us a little bit about your role at Microsoft?
Sure. Thank you. I'm so happy to be back again. Thank you for having me. As you said, lots of information to share on the Microsoft Marketplace today, so it's going to be great. I'm Christine Brown. I've been with Microsoft now for 15 years. I blinked and there it went. I've been so happy to spend the last 4 with the Azure Marketplace team. There's so much innovation going on, and the progress we've made from my first year in the marketplace to this year, it's incredible. So happy to talk about that today.
Oh, wonderful. Fantastic. All right. So the agenda today, we're going to be updating on current programs. Give us an update. So it's been about a year and a half since we last had you on. So there's been a lot of things that have been changing. We're going to talk about this new marketplace agent that you've been hearing every day, for the past year. Microsoft talking about AI, Copilot, and now it's all about agent. So that's kind of cool. We're going to talk about this new thing called the resale option. And then we're going to get some scenarios that are on there. But, it's going to be Q&A. We are light on slides. We literally have 0 slides besides the actual questions that we have here. So we really want to make this a really, great session for everybody to go ahead and talk about a couple of cool things. So before I get started, one of the things that I really want to just touch on, and this is something that's really, really important, there are 1,000 programs that Microsoft comes out with. And every 6 months, there's a whole tranche of new stuff that comes out. And, I'm a proponent of everything Microsoft. However, I really want you as a partner to focus on just 4 things. Well, actually, there's 5. And luckily we have Christine on here because she's going to like what I say. But, the top 4 things that we have to figure out, are 1, figuring out your partner center, making sure you're getting all your attribution, making sure that you're getting your points that are necessary. We find on average a 21% breakage between what you've sold at your distie versus what is in Partner Center. And it could be naming conventions. It could be a bunch of different things, CPOR, DPOR, APOR, all the pores that have ever been out there, PAL associations, right? So that's really what's really important to there. Now, secondly, is following this program, right? You have membership, you have partner success. We want to get a solution partner designation and then an advanced specialization. Now, there's a couple of reasons why I tell folks that you really want to get this type of solution or getting a solution designation, because it's all about the back end rebates and or access, if you get the advanced specialization, to hundreds of thousands of dollars in deployment funds. We typically see a 4 times gain. So if you sold $100,000, let's say in Azure consumption, and you had your SPD, there's about 21,000 in a year that you can get back end rebates, right? Accelerators right there. But if you had that advanced specialization, we're talking 4 times that. It's about $81,000, and that's including assessments and deployments. It is where you need to go. And so when we talk to our partner base, we tell them, hey, listen, there's a lot of things you can do, but what we want you to do is keep your head down. Now, the fifth pillar on this whole thing to actually make it all tied together is listing in the marketplace. You have to have listings in the marketplace. You have to do that. Now, the last thing I'm going to go ahead and mention, we have a new service that we are actually promoting today, starting today, but it's taken us about 5 years to gather over 500 certified individuals. So we have a new product called Certification as a Service. So if you are struggling with getting a solution partner designation and you're like, gosh, I need to get 4 or 5 or 6 certifications, people who have certs, well, we have a very economical way, about $1,500 a month, and we can get you up to 10 certs. $3,000 a month, we can get you up to 20 certified individuals in 30 days. And then that really is the big crux of knocking those things down, a lot of getting those certs. And you may be asking this question, well, what does Microsoft think about this? Well, you say that because we got this cleared a year ago. Actually, with the Worldwide Partner Group, we were doing a project with them, and I said, hey, what do you think about this? And the guidance says, hey, use it as a gap, and out, kind of a gap, and basically it's use the service for 1 year to get your people up to speed and whatnot. So that's just a thing that I just want to share with everybody. We'll give some ways to kind of talk. We can talk about that in the future. So, all right. So now, one thing that we don't do today, because we've tried a new little format here, we tried the event thing, so we don't have polls. So we're asking if you guys could take a look at this question and give us an answer in the chat window. Let's see if anybody we can put in the chat window or in the Q&A. I'm just kind of looking at that right here. No, if you go to the chat window and tell us if you have any current marketplace listings. And I apologize if we're not going to be able to see what people are putting in. But let's see if somebody can give me an answer. Yes, no, yes, we're transacting. Are we not able to see that? Let's see. Huh. No, something? I apologize. We're going to have one technical difficulty we've never faulted on this in the last 70 shows. But okay, so do you have current marketplace listings? I think the idea here is to say yes, we are transacting. No, this is complicated, or I don't know the real value. And then we're kind of tossing this up here because we want you to kind of start thinking of, really the next thing is to kind of start, with Christine. Christine, could you start us off with, can you give us a brief update on the current state of the Microsoft Marketplace? I'm sure a lot of people are interested.
Absolutely. So let's take it back to a couple things that you were saying. So yes, we have a lot of programs, and they do change periodically. I like to think, and having been in this role for several years now, that as we've learned more about how our partners and how our customers are interacting in the marketplace, we've been able to amend those programs. So it's a lot, I'll admit, but we're doing that to reflect the behavior that our partners and customers are showing, and be able to reward our partners for reaching those next goals. So it's a lot. Take advantage of the service if you're having a difficult time tracking all of those, but they're pretty critical. The great news is that from 4 years ago, year and a half ago, when I was on with you last, we really talked about why marketplace. Why should I be there? That's not really a conversation anymore. It's how to make this better. How do I really get this to work for me? So the why is still important. Lots of research and studies about the marketplace. It's not just a trend or trendy anymore. It is the channel to be using. So again, we're not really talking about the partners that I'm talking with aren't asking why. It's how do I make this better? How do I accelerate this for myself? So love that. I love the transition and the evolution of that conversation. I am such a huge fan of the Ignite conference. And so when we take a look back at 25, this Ignite conference was so much different than it has been in the past. And if you put that first link in the chat there, anything that Nicole Deason says is gold. Anything that Judson ever says is gold. Absolutely listen to their their blogs, their webinars, and go back really and listen to some of the information that was shared at Ignite. If you were there, if you were lucky enough to attend or not, the message there was AI and marketplace. And so again, the conversation has evolved from why to accelerate and new product offerings. So everything is AI and get into the marketplace. The second link included in there is the skilling hub. So if you're a little bit nervous about what to do in the marketplace around agents, the skilling hub, that's really your place to go.
And Christine, so for the folks here, go to the Q&A section over here because we're having a little trouble with the chat. We can't see the back and forth. Go to the Q&A. Richard's actually posting these links that we're talking about so that you guys can all see that. And I'm seeing people actually get in there. So, okay, sorry, going back to you.
Perfect. Yeah, anything, again, the Ignite conference was incredible. So I would encourage you to go back and listen to some of those webinars and discussions that were there. In co-selling, so again, must be in the marketplace. We have to have something published in the marketplace. That's the bare minimum for entry here. Getting your Partner Center account cleaned up, being able to manage that well is key. And we're doing that so that we can look at co-sell, right? That's our goal. How do we work with Microsoft? How do you work with each other? How do you find other partners, right? We were just talking about networking. It's that motion that's going to take you from a couple of transactions to being able to expand potentially globally if that's what you choose to do. Yeah, lots and lots going on in the marketplace.
I know this is a little, it's on the topic that you're talking about. This isn't something that we discussed earlier, but now it kind of brought me up. I think there's some partners that think or have been told, I'm going to put a marketplace ad up, I'm going to list my offer up there. And man, I'm going to get hundreds of leads that are coming off here. They've heard that. Now,
right.
We provided more guidance of actually it's a tool to help elevate your business within the Microsoft community, but also within the account executives that lead to co-sell. Would you say that that's a pretty good or an accurate depiction of what a good big portion of the marketplace really is?
Sure. I remember working with, I'm sort of chuckling to myself. So I worked with this company in Australia. Fastest time I've ever listed a solution. It took us 3 days. And he sort of leaned back and he was all happy with himself. Oh, the leads are going to pour in now. Okay. Well, maybe. It's not a passive income, right? This is the first step in promoting yourself. So number one, the listing has to be transactable, right? So it can't simply be a contact me. Interesting, but it's not going to get you the results that you think. So it must be transactable. So different conversation about that. When you reach the point where this can be IP co-sell eligible, and there's certain standards that a partner needs to meet to get that designation. So transactability plus that IP co-sell status will give you the MAC eligibility. And so when customers who have billions of dollars sort of reserved in their MAC agreements, when you want to get a piece of that, the way to do that, the way customers are looking for those solutions is the MAC eligibility. So that should really be your path. List something, make it transactable, do what you need to do to get to that IP co-sell eligibility status, and that will give you the MAC eligibility. And so that's your path.
I love that. I'll and correct me if I'm wrong on how I explain it to folks as well. I'll tell them, I say, hey, Bank of America, I bet you Bank of America, they spent $10 million last year. Microsoft came to them and said, hey, if you sign a 3-year, we'll give it to you for $8 million a year. But you got to commit to that. And then then Bank of America comes and they only spend $7 million. They're like, holy smokes, what do I do with that extra $1 million? Well, if your offer is MAC eligible, you can spend that money on the
Right.
offer, which makes it so simple, right?
Right.
So much simpler.
Yeah. So I would say at the same time, Microsoft has been evolving the marketplace. We've been evolving the conversation with our partners to help them understand why to get in here. I would say the conversation with customers is just starting to heat up. Like I truly believe that 26, calendar year 26, is going to be the year that customers really clue in to the idea and the potential of using their Mac agreement to make these purchases through the Microsoft Marketplace. For that exact reason, right? They know what their infrastructure spend is. I was in procurement for 6 years before coming to this role, and so I know how much, Microsoft spends on third-party software. And that was the first thing that we did was go, oh, what do we spend? How can we move that into the marketplace? And that's the exact conversation that we're hoping customers sort of clue into this year is, yes, we have a Mac agreement for our own infrastructure use, but can we expand that to include software purchases through the marketplace? And so that conversation is really heating up. And I think 26 is going to be the year that customers clue in and really start pulling things, as opposed to partners going back and saying, no, we should do this through the marketplace. This is really going to be the year, I think, when customers start pulling that conversation into the marketplace.
I think so too. All right, so we have our next question that we have here. Let me go to, yeah. Would you be able to talk to about the importance of driving business through the marketplace and how Microsoft measures this for partner visibility?
Yes. And it goes back to those solution designations, right? So the more, and there's a common slide that you've seen, and it was used Ignite very often. So for every dollar of revenue that Microsoft makes, a partner makes, I think it was, don't quote me on the numbers, but an exponentially larger number. And then again, there were the service providers, right? So the integrators. And so for every dollar that we make, partners and SIs make even more. So they're driving revenue. And so the more highly integrated you are with our customers, the more you're driving integration and usage of Azure. That obviously makes you very attractive to our sellers. And so the more you drive through the marketplace as well, that's really going to bring the attention to your company to where we can say, let's start co-selling together. Let's start partnering together. Co-selling really is, I think it's I won't say it's magical because it's real, but what you're able to do by co-selling with the Microsoft sales team is together go into a potential customer and say, this is our story. This is why we're better together. This is why you should buy my product and use that with Microsoft. So it's an incredibly powerful tool to be able to use.
Yeah, and I love that. I really do. And the ultimate goal is to get working with Microsoft sellers.
Right.
That's why I look at it. It's
Right.
How do they and they have to see you in the marketplace, but they also have to see you driving business. And
Yes.
and I think there's two different things. As a partner, there's levels of pushing through the marketplace, but as an ISV, right, getting IP co-sell ready, there's benefits based on how much money you're pushing through, right, the marketplace.
There are. Yes.
Yeah, and that for the folks here, that's webinars to Microsoft sellers, right? Or that's featured content that is actually on a website that Microsoft is producing, about your particular product or service. But we kind of have to push it through the marketplace. Now, just a small question on there. What is the markup that a partner should put on their product so that when it goes to the marketplace, they're not seeing a deduction in their overall profit margin?
Yeah, I see what you're asking. I always hesitate at that, so I certainly have an opinion. But the guidance, of course, is business specific. So to drive transactions through the marketplace, there is a standard 3% agency fee. How should a company mark up their product to cover that? It sounds obvious. I'm not going to give an answer to that, though. It's really up to the business to decide how they do that. I've worked with companies who are very open about that and tell their customer that there's going to be a 3% fee. I've had others who bake it in and don't overtly discuss that. So it's a good question. It's a valid one. I hear you. There are options, but that's
And that's the thing
business
is, we're
to
just
decide.
trying to socialize this here. So
Mhm.
there isn't a gotcha moment. Yeah, it's around 3%. So
Yeah.
just think about that from a business, perspective. If, how are you selling your service? And, it's interesting is we manage a lot of partners and we have it both ways. We got some partners that are like, I'm charging 103%,
Yeah.
or partners that are like, well, no, we use that as a discount. It's a loss leader, but we're using other things.
Could be.
Um,
Mhm.
and it could be.
Yeah. And on the customer side, it's funny, I an hour ago I was having the same conversation. Um, uh, the customer that I was working with decided that yes, we will accept that fee because working through the marketplace, buying this through the marketplace gives us a much greater advantage with the discounts that we get because we have this larger MAC agreement. So this 3% fee is offset by the gains that we get by buying this through the marketplace with the MAC agreement.
So Corey Lugo had this very interesting question, and this is, I think, one that's generalized enough we can just socialize it here. What are some examples of how SIs can create and benefit from transactable services? We feel left out of the benefits. Well, Corey, we'll send you the benefit package for the ISVs, okay? Number one, because there's a lot that are there. Would you like to weigh in on that one, Christine?
Yes, and that could also lead us into the resale enabled offers conversation.
Okay, so Corey, hold tight. Let me go ahead and get to the this next question here, and let me go ahead and push this up here. Let's talk about REO offers. Can you explain what they are, how they're used, and the benefits they provide to partners? Actually, this is a great tee up, Corey.
Yes.
Yeah.
Actually, links 4 and 5, those would be great in here as well. So we talked about the solution partner designations, and so that link will help there. And then link number 5 is all about co-sell, and so what we were just talking about, and this is from Jason Rook.
Okay. Richard will put those in there. Yep,
Yeah.
no problem.
And in addition to anything that Judson says, Nicole Deason, 3 people that I really encourage you to follow or listen to. Mason McCoy, he wrote the article that is going in here. Jason Brook, also a popular speaker at Ignite and anything that he does. And then one of my favorites is Darren Sharp in the UK, a great voice for the marketplace there. So follow those 3 as well. And generally anything that they say is also gold.
Fantastic.
Getting back to the question. So how do SIs work here? With the largest partners that I've worked with, the ISVs, we now call them CSDs, they often work with other partners, and other partners long-standing relationships with integrators, right? So I have a product, but I want as many people as possible to use that. And so I have existing relationships with other companies, other SIs who will sell that on my behalf and then do the integration. That's one of those, another reason to network on here, find those partners who you can work with. So Resale Enabled Offers was created, I think we went GA May or June of last year, to be able to give a partner who has developed a solution in the marketplace and give that solution to another partner for them to be able to sell on their behalf. So SIs now sort of get credit for that transaction, that sale goes through there. Professional services still are only transactable in the US, UK, and Canada. They still don't decrement MAC, which is fine. but using the resale enabled offer functionality, any large partner who has sort of an existing relationship with a VAR, a disti, a channel partner of another kind, any type of reseller, they have the ability to literally give you in Partner Center their solution that they've published, and it really looks like it sort of belongs to you. And in Partner Center, you're able to create private offers to your customers, your mutual customers, and send it off. And certainly adding your professional services solution there as well. So REO, I think it's one of the most fantastic things that we've done in a while. If I'm not going to upset some of the product managers. MPPO, which became MPO, the multi-party private offer, is fantastic.
That is.
It really gets into margin. And so this is a different type of relationship. And in Partner Center, when that transaction goes through, when that MPO transaction goes through, it was the allocation and the reconciliation of the revenue that was the challenge for some of those partners in that motion. And so that, coupled with the idea that many software companies have other partners that they're working with and don't necessarily want to give them one-to-one access to this. They just want to say, here's my solution. Like, you've always sold this for me. Let's just reflect that similar relationship in the marketplace. And so that's where REO came from. And I just closed 2 deals this morning using REO. It's an incredible new set of functionality.
So it's the main partner who publishes the offer.
Yes.
And then he's got, no, he, she, it, them, I'm not gender specific here. They have partners that want to sell their product. And so they can create different links for their partners to go out there and resell that particular service as it was their own.
Yes. There's a key difference with other arrangements that it's different than CSP and it's different than MPO as well. So in the marketplace, when you do one of those transactions, the reseller, all the money from the transaction goes back to the reseller. And that's it. So it really requires you to have, again, coming from a procurement background, it really requires you to have an agreement of some kind with that partner to say, and when you make this sale, I get X percentage of that. I get a certain dollar amount. You're going to share with me something, right? So oftentimes those relationships exist. And the payment structure is outside the marketplace as well. So not only do I get a percent, I get a dollar amount, you're going to pay me this way. And that will all take place outside of the marketplace. So that's a key difference. So REO, amazing. I would strongly encourage you to have outside agreements, if you don't already, with your selling partners.
I'll give an example of one offer that's so rudimentary, but just kills it in the marketplace. We were dealing with one of our partners, and I can't say names and even tell you about the actual offer, but I can give you some generalities. Mm-hmm. Now, this particular partner does about 500 million in annual gross sales across all the stacks. I mean, this big partner, right? So we're doing our audit, and we're looking at, how much business did they push through the marketplace? Because we asked them, hey, do you know about the marketplace? And they came back with was, what's the marketplace? I'm like, right. But sometimes SLT doesn't know what's really going on beneath the scenes. So I'm like, okay, well, let's take a look. And we found they had about 600,000 that actually went through the marketplace. And which was even more odd because we're like, you guys are using the marketplace, man. You guys know what you're doing. And so we dug into this offer, and I'm thinking this has got to be some crazy offer, right? Just something. And you know what the offer was? It was a modern work migration. It was so simple. And this is the keep it simple superstar method. So they literally listed, and it was a services offer. It was with a little bit of IP, I think, in it, but it basically was like $15,000.
Right.
It was very transactional, very easy to understand, and it was, we're going to migrate your on-prem office to Microsoft 365. And you're thinking nobody does that anymore. That was done like 5 years ago. Nope, there's a lot of people still doing it, and
There are.
it was, my team. We were all scratching our heads like, can we look at this offer some more? We kept looking at it, thinking, what's the magic behind it? But it was the keep it simple superstar method of. So, there's a lot of ways of skinning the cat here, right? We're talking about things. We want to make sure that our offers are aligning to this thing called sales plays, which we'll talk about, I think, a little bit later. But I think there's a lot of things to do with that. Let me ask you a question, and this is just pure advice here. Our guidance has always been, don't just put one general offer up on the marketplace. Try to look at it from an industry perspective. Can you take that offer and actually spin that up for finance, manufacturing, with a little bit different nuances to that offering?
Right.
Would you say that's good advice for partners?
I do. I do think that, right? So I have a solution that's maybe it's an HR payroll solution, right? That crosses every industry. So if you create a solution that says, or if you create a listing that says, my HR solution can do this for retail, and then create another one that says I can do this for manufacturing, something to draw attention to your solution for each industry. Yes. Now,
yeah, that's what I'm getting.
There's an overhead to that. There's an overhead to maintaining that. So yes, do anything that you can to draw attention to your solution. Speaking of which, brand new as well is the ability to track campaigns. So if you put in link number 11, brand new functionality that we just put out is the ability to track, is a marketing capability to track campaigns and look at the activity in the marketplace.
That is so cool. Okay, we're going to start looking at that one. I'm going to give you feedback. So we can use that right away.
And it just came out a few days ago. I would speak more to it, but it just came out a few days ago, and I'm not really up on it yet. So do take a look at the link. So
there's a lot of static when it comes to when we talk to partners, and we say, hey, do you know about this program or that program, right? And most of the time, I usually get crickets. What? There's so much information. We're getting so many emails. We're getting so many things. It's difficult to find anything or get answers. So you mentioned, that it's been increasingly difficult, right, for to manage the volume of questions coming from partners. What tools or resources has your team created to help partners get the answers that need more efficiently?
Sure, and I'll sort of give you the long answer there. Sorry. So again, 4 years ago on my team, we are dedicated to helping partners in their marketplace journey. There were 4 of us, then there were 6 of us, and now there's almost 30 of us doing this role. And so we each have a set number of partners. So we're helping a couple hundred partners. There are obviously more partners in the world. And so our leadership team is looking to us to say, how do we scale your knowledge? How do we scale what you do? Again, we've been doing this for years. And so we have just this embedded knowledge in our head. So how do we get that to partners to help as many people as we can? How do we scale our capacity, right? There's only so many calls I can do in a day. There's so many partners I can help in a year, but how do we scale? And the answer to that is AI agents, right? The answer to everything right now is an agent. And I was, as our team was looking at how we scale internally, right? So there's partner development managers, there's account teams. How do we that was the first thing we thought of, was how do we deflect some of these questions back to the person or the team that's closest to the partners? And so we started creating agents internally to take our knowledge and share that with our internal teams. And there were a whole bunch of people working on that, and they're doing amazing work, and I'd be happy to talk about that another day. My thought as I sat and thought about this was, how do we get this to the partners? Right? Let's just stop the questions coming in the nicest way. Let's stop the questions coming in by giving them the answers. Let's make that available. The Learn documentation, comprehensive, but there's a lot there. Learn documents, the programs, the incentives. How do you keep track of it all? And so I created an agent. It's called Agent Christine. it's it's meant to replace me, and again, in the nicest way, right? It takes the information that I and my team have put together into an agent, and I've made the agent available to anyone who wants it. Here's the fantastic part. So again, came up with this idea. We have what's called a hackathon internally. We do this for a week, usually in the fall. And I put a bunch of people together on my team to create a Copilot Studio agent. We did security checks. We did responsible AI checks. We tested some of the activity that it can do, and we came up with a really good version of this. And then, as Microsoft always does, we did a pilot. We did a pilot with some of the top partners that we support to say, number one, does this sound like a good idea? And everybody said yes, with no questions asked. When can I get this? Yes. And then we did a pilot. So we took the Copilot Studio version that's available on GitHub. It's an open source solution right now that you can get from GitHub, github.com/Agent Christine. And we tested it out with some partners. What we found is that there's a lot of partners right now who, the contacts that we work with, they don't know if they have Copilot Studio licenses. Or if they do, their IT team couldn't allocate them one. So that was the first big hurdle that we faced. Then with others, we found once we did get a Copilot Studio license, they were able to import that agent. Then they didn't have internal guidelines set up to use that yet. So a couple of challenges along the way. And so because of that, most people have M365 Copilot. It comes with certain packages. And so we created an M365 set of instructions to build an Agent Christine internally. And both of those can be accessed via my absolute favorite link in the world, aka.ms/mastering the marketplace, the one link I didn't send you ahead of time. But if you use any search engine and put in mastering the marketplace, there's a brand new section on the nav on the left. It's called Marketplace Agents, and so Agent Christine is available right there. I would love if more people would take a look at that and start using it. Please give me feedback. There's a way to give feedback in the GitHub, or find me on LinkedIn and send me feedback there. It's an open source. There's a list of functionality that I have sort of set for the future, but I don't want to be the roadblock. I think this is a fantastic idea, so I got it out as quick as I could. There will be updates that come, but I want to open it up to see what the rest of the partner community can do, right? It's GitHub, it's open source, it's meant for people to build on each other's ideas. So feel free, take it, import it into your system, create your own M365 Agent Christine, and see what you can do. But this should be a source of answers for you. So when you have questions, go to your agent. I've got all of the knowledge sources there, and what we found is that it's really accurate and can give you the guidance that you need instantly without having to look through the myriad of resources that we have.
Yeah, I'm like,
told you that was the long version. Sorry.
It's okay, because even like docs.microsoft.com, you can find some great answers, but you're kind of beholden to how the person who is writing that, how they think. And
Yes.
sometimes you need a little bit of a different way, something that can kind of translate it or see it in a different perspective. And I
Right.
think, having an agent using Copilot, I mean, heck, this is awesome. We all know from our side, from the partner side, it's sometimes difficult to get a hold of anybody, and you're
It
just, and you're like, I just got this, there's a nuanced thing for some reason. It's grayed out
Right.
here or whatever, for whatever reason. And
Right.
I just need someone to translate what they're saying because I can't understand it, right?
Yes.
That's
So I love Agent Christine because it can be downloaded and used in the partner's environment. So it really is where you live. Now you're talking about something being grayed out. If you're in Partner Center, there's also a brand new Partner Center AI. So it's page specific, it's topic specific. Absolutely use that as well. So if you're in Partner Center and you have a question, there's a Partner Center AI. Absolutely. If you're not in Partner Center, or like many of my partners, they only want to give access to Partner Center to a key few number of people. They don't want every one of their salespeople in there. Bless their hearts, bulls in china shops. So they really want to keep Partner Center to a specific group, but they all have questions, right? So I field questions from a select group of people at a partner. Those people field questions from their entire company, right? So they have a very similar role to me. So having the agent in your environment, you can make that available to your entire company, and then that alleviates you from answering those questions as well. So Agent Christine in your environment, Partner Center AI if you're in Partner Center.
excellent. Excellent. So we've got a little extra time here. So I want to kind of circle back, if we can, go back to sales plays, Microsoft sales plays. And every new fiscal, the field has some new sales plays, right? New ways of tackling it. If what advice would you give to a partner who says, "Gosh, I want to make sure that when a seller comes to my marketplace listing, they understand that we understand their sales play." What advice would you give them? Would they create an offer that's around the sales play and put that into the marketplace to show that they're aligned? Or what are your thoughts on that?
Yes, that's a great question. So I think I have like three answers to that. So hold that thought.
Okay.
When you're creating the solution itself in Partner Center, you've got the marketing material. You're going to copy and paste it in there. I would say in the categories section, in the properties and the categories and subcategories, you can say where your solution lies. In industry as well. So those, I would say the combination of those would get you closest. Obviously, you have complete control over the copy that goes in there, right? The description of the listing. So if you want to put in specific language that speaks to that solution play, you can. The listing, though, is really meant for the customer to understand what your solution can do. If you have IP co-sell eligibility, you're able to add that marketing material for a seller. So what is it that you want the seller to know about your solution and how it hits their solution play? So that's a separate set of documents that you can add that really speaks to the specifics. This is what I do for this one. This is what I do for this one. This is how I hit this goal. So two different sets of documents there that can help you do that. Again, for the customer, they're looking at how does it work for me?
Yeah.
How does it work for my solution? And then third, of course, they want to see that rewards eligible, that MAC eligible icon. That's what they're going to look for.
And that's exactly actually where I was going. That was a fantastic answer, by the way. But I want them to know. I really want our partners to know this is, hey, on one side it is customer facing, but you got to put a little extra effort into here because it is a lot of times the seller that you're working with is going to go to your offers in the marketplace. They're going to look at that, and if you can show them that, hey, you get it. You get what you're trying. You get what they're being marked on.
Right.
and
Yeah.
you're designing yourself.
Sorry, the referral space. The referral space as well. Sorry, that was the third one I was thinking of. So when you have an opportunity with a customer and you'd like to attract the attention of a Microsoft seller, you can put in a referral and you say, I'm working with, this big giant customer of yours. Can you help? And you say, this is who I am. This is my solution. This is my customer. And then I think specifically in there, it says, which solution play are you talking about? So it's at that point where you can actually select a solution play. And again, that gets specific attention there. I should say too, second only to AI and the use of agents and the creation of agents is security. And so in the marketplace, because security has such a focus right now, there's actually a new security store. So if you're doing anything in security, I would say your goal should be get your listing in that security store as well. And that was link number something on there. 10.
10. Oh, yeah. Security store, a securitystore.microsoft.com. Yeah.
Right.
If you guys go to the Q&A, it's already been posted in there. Visually, now this is a visual question. You see offers in the marketplace that are very rudimentary, and then you see ones that are not rudimentary that actually have assets attached to it, whether it's a PowerPoint, whether it's a one-pager, whether it's a video on there. What do you think is the best approach? Is it keep it simple, superstar, or is it, hey, we want to make sure that when we're putting up there that you can consume it in many different ways? Maybe you're a PowerPoint person, maybe you're a visual person. There's a video or something on there. What advice would you give a partner when thinking about how to create those listings?
I actually think screenshots are required. So it should have a screenshot. Anything visual, yeah. If you have a video that talks about your product, and I wouldn't even say it has to be industry specific, but if you have a video that demonstrates your product's usage, value, any of that, I certainly encourage you to put up a video. White papers are good. If you have a white paper on what I won't say, it's required. Don't worry about going to create one right now. But if you have a white paper that talks about the benefits of your product, I could throw in, use Copilot Researcher and see if you can create a white paper out of that. And then customer testimonials. That's obviously very, very powerful. So if you have a customer testimonial, you can certainly add that in there. The more information you can give a potential customer to say yes and click on your solution and say, get it now, and yes, Microsoft, do send my information to this partner. That's what you're looking for.
Okay, good stuff. Yeah, like we used to when we used to help with creating like when we started our VOMP, Voice of Microsoft Partner. You have that video. This is the Crancer Group, and this is why. The talking thing.
Yeah.
We would advise our partners to look. Let's create one of those suckers, and get that up there. Now, most folks think that costs $5,000 to $10,000 or $20,000 to do. I'm going to go ahead and open the curtain and let you know it cost me $15 in about 30 minutes. Okay. And that looked high. It looks high end. It looks a lot higher end than you think for $15 in 30 minutes.
and look, if you have Copilot right now, and you give Copilot some source material and say create a 3-minute video, create a 45-second video out of this, done. I won't say it's free because you had to pay for it, but if you have source material, give it to Copilot. It can create video.
All right.
Designer as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the more visual, because everybody consumes things differently. Yeah, that's what I always thought about it, and especially when we found out this stat the other day that only 17% of co-sell referrals or co-sell, registered co-sell deals actually get through to the end account executive where they're accepting it because they're getting a lot. We have a 99% acceptance rate because we understand that every AE consumes things differently. So we'll have a video, we'll have a PowerPoint, and we'll have a one-pager. And then after we do the registration, this is a tip for everybody here today. After we do the registration, we then find out who the account executive is, okay?
Right.
And we'll send them an email, we'll send them a LinkedIn note, we'll send them a Teams message saying, hey, we're in this account. We need to talk. We're going to help you, right? And that's been a really good way of and then we get 99% of all of our co-sell deal registrations. We always get a meeting. So you just figure it out, right?
Fantastic.
So maybe just final thought. What maybe final piece of advice would you give to partners or anything that you want them to do besides? And I'm going to make sure everyone here is going to download Agent Christine. I'm going to be calling every attendee personally. Okay, just want to let you all know that we're going to call you. We're going to LinkedIn or Teams message you, ask you if you use it. Okay, but what would be a parting thought that you'd like to give to the group?
I love the marketplace. It's what I do every day. I love helping partners. I love helping customers find the right solutions. I love helping close deals. I don't get comped. I'm not a salesperson. I get gold stars next to my name and my team. I love this. I think this is the best team in Microsoft to be on right now. I love the potential of the marketplace. I think 26 is really going to sort of blow the lid off of this. We have brand new partners coming in. A lot of them have made the news lately. Agents, marketplace, security, I think it's the places to be. So the last link I have in here, and we haven't really talked about this yet, one of my teammates, a couple of my teammates have gone deep in the weeds in all of our reports, right? So congratulations, you got a listing. Congratulations, you co-sell. Now you've got a transaction. A few days later, you get some money in your account. The last link on there that I'll share with you is an office hours that my teammate David and all the work that some of our other teammates put together. It's how to use the revenue reports, how to use all the insight reports, how do we understand the money that's coming in and where it's going. So great, you've done all that. Now the money's coming in. How do I look at that information? So take a look at that. Office hours talks about all the different reports, how to use them together. So that would be my parting thought.
Okay, fantastic. Well, Christine, thank you so much for your time today. We'll go ahead and when we conclude this hour, we're going to send two things out. We'll send the recording out to everybody who attended. We'll send out the Copilot notes that we have, our summary of this great stuff. And we'll send out a copy of all the links that Christine has mentioned, just in case you couldn't access the Q&A for some reason. We are reverting back to our old Teams registration. This was kind of an outlier because it was the first of the year. We wanted to change. So please, we're going to make sure that in the email, we're going to send you a new registration link for our next guest. And let me go ahead and mention, we actually have Monica French, USA SMB Director at Microsoft, who focuses on artificial intelligence. So we're going to be talking about all the different programs with her next February 27th, Friday, 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So please, we'll go ahead and send out, we'll re-register everybody here that's accepted. The majority of you that have come to this are on the all-time registration list. So we'll just send it so you'll get a meeting invite. Okay, so thank you very much for all that. So yeah, save the date for that. As well as if you ever need to get a hold of anybody here on our team, you have our information here, Sherman Crancer. Josh Rogers is typically the person that's front end, so jrogers@crancer.us. And lastly, I want to reiterate, we do have the solution or certification as a service. So if you are missing some certs and you don't want to go hire for people at $150,000 a piece per year, I have an idea for you to help you out, at least to bridge it. The ROI on that bridge is about six times ROI, because think about the internal use rights that you'll now be able to get, right? And think about the incentives, the back-end incentives, as well as access to the deployment funds, access to the marketplace. We got to have a solution partner designation to really use that to our benefit. So, there's some hoops to jump through. But anyways, for all of us here at the Crancer Group, want to say thank you very much. Christine, once again, thank you again. Thank you for coming. You're always a great speaker, and we just love having you. So thank you.
Happy
again
to. Thank you so much.
All right. Everybody, have a great afternoon, a great weekend, and we will see you again in 1 month's time. All right. Have a great day. Take care. Bye-bye. End the event.